My friend is King Gabriel again, here with Impromptu video number 13. Today's topic is action versus reaction. Action is a process or state of being active. Reaction is a state of responding or a chemical situation which is in response to a certain situation or event. Okay? So when we look at action, we can clearly see that action has to do with being, a state of being active, right? So action is initiated from the consciousness or the intention part of things that we were speaking about earlier, the intention of that divine consciousness. That is where true action comes from, inspired action as we call it. However, reaction comes from the horizontal level that we spoke about yet again, which is using the information that's already there within the parameters of time and within the parameters of the already existent human consciousness to form something new, or to try to form something new. But there is no way to form something new from what is already there. And I'll show you how. Try thinking right now, just for yourself, of a brand new color. And really stretch your mind as far as you can. Think of a new color. You'd find that it's impossible. You wouldn't even be able to name that new color. Now you can think of already existent colors, and you might say that you did find one, so let's discuss that part. Let's say you're forming a new color and you decided to mix two colors that were already existent to form that new color. You'd find that you had to stretch for colors that were already existent, and when you mix those two colors, all you'll be able to see is a color that is already existent in your mind. You already have it in your mind. You cannot form a new color because it's on the horizontal level and it's on the level that you've already witnessed. There is nothing new on the horizontal level. We've all experienced it already to some degree. Varying degrees for everyone, obviously, because somebody might have a really intense experience while somebody has a less intense experience. And the intensity is based on that individual's perception also, because someone can have the wrong dress or have something spill on their dress and have the worst day ever because of that, while someone else could have someone close to them pass away and have not such a bad day because they understand life differently. And so when we really look at things like that, it's really up to perception, and that perception is varied along that scale. However, the information that we're using to form that perception is the same exact thing. Okay, it doesn't really change. So being in reaction sticks us on human consciousness, because what it does is it pays attention to the level of human consciousness to make all its decisions and to respond to anything that occurs. So it's always a response based on the past. And what happens is we get locked into that. That keeps us on the level of human consciousness. Action, however, is the place where real change can be made. Action is not about getting out there and kicking some butt like some people think and getting people to change their mind by saying, okay, well, wear this so you should be this. This is how the world is going to change. No, the action I'm talking about is choosing to be one way. And when I say choosing to be one way, what I mean by that is simply this. Love is the easiest one because a lot of people now are on that vibration and moving towards it powerfully. If you choose to be love, or to be loving for that matter, and I would say be love. So if you choose to be love, and someone comes to you and responds in a way that you deem negative, you see it as negative because it's not going with your intention. It's not going with who you've identified yourself to be. If you were to respond to them, you're instantly in a state of reaction. If you're trying to correct them, trying to teach them a new way or whatever, you're already stepped into the, or you've already stepped into the state of acknowledging that where they came from was not love. So then you have seen something that was not loving, and you've identified yourself as not love as well. And that's how easy it is, because then you drop to that human consciousness level instantly. You're no longer in your inspired state or your conscious or your divine consciousness state for that matter. What you would need to do is, if you choose to be love, just be love, regardless of what comes. And this is where the real challenge is for most people who really want to form a true spiritual practice and really want to progress in developing a spiritual consciousness. Because someone can act unlovingly and you can see them as totally unjust in what they do, right? But the truth is, it's not about being unjust. they are only acting from their level of consciousness. We all have different states, and if we were to really feel into why people act from where they act, I know I've felt it already, if we feel into why they act where they act and the conviction that they come with, we see that they think it's the only way that they will get through. They think that this is the only way to respond to this, and that's from learned experience. That's from what they learned through experience. And so their consciousness is steeped, and they think that that's the only way that things are going to work out for them. They're in a state of fear. And so for us, looking onto them and seeing them acting that way, we have to develop such a state of compassion, number one, that we can see that they really think what they're thinking there matters. It matters. It's so important to them. And it is important to them. So we respect that because we respect them and we love them. And then what happens is that gap there in terms of the discrepancy of ideas gets bridged. It's all of a sudden a non-issue because we're then looking into them and feeling what they're feeling for an instant, but then elevating it, because by feeling what they're feeling and relating to what they are relating to, we can still act instead of react. And if we act instead of react, they see our actions. They realize that there's another way of being in that situation without us saying anything or trying to change them. And then we elevate together. And that's all that it is. So action is the way, not reaction. If you find yourself reacting to any situation, and I'm speaking to myself here as well, if you find yourself reacting to any situation, it's important to remember in that instant that whatever the situation is, whoever the person is, it's either going to be from your own mind, number one, which is what consciousness is, an outplay of your own mind. And if you see that, you have to have compassion for yourself. And number two, if it's another individual and you view that other individual as wrong or whatever, just feel into where they're at and what pain they must have gone through in their life to come to the situation where they feel that this is the only way. And then you can bridge that gap with them and get into that state of acting again. Acting from the state of your true intention, which may be to bring love, maybe to bring peace, maybe to bring joy, whatever it is that quality is that you want to express. You will be able to act from that state, knowing that you're not trying to change them. You're just acting purely from self and from the divine expression that wants to be expressed in a sense through you. And that's what I have to say today. So choose action, my friend. Choose love, choose peace, choose whichever makes you feel good. Because the one that you choose to act from, is the one that will make a true difference in your experience and in the world as well. Eternal love and infinite peace.